Sitting here on the side of the road like a good rideshare driver waiting to get my next ping. So let's talk about something that is currently in the news. Proposition 22, often titled Prop 22. It's in the news. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Now, this one actually could be good news for rideshare drivers, but I don't want to state it is good news because we don't want some shit to happen like what happened in Minnesota a couple months ago, where we were on the cusp of getting a lot of shit we wanted. Had passed both the House and Senate in a liberal state like Minnesota. Had a governor that had not vetoed a damn thing his entire term, and picked this one time when Uber flushed him with cash to veto a hell of a lot of gains for rideshare drivers. That just happened in Minnesota. So even though Prop 22 is something I do believe has a lot of benefits for us drivers, and it is taking place in a liberal state, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, these gig companies pay a hell of a lot of money in politics to continue treating us like shit. Prop 22 has went to the Supreme Court, so it's about to be heard by the Supreme Court. You're hearing all this other shit coming out there, rolling back affirmative action and stuff like that. Well, Prop 22 is also about to be discussed. Now, Prop 22 is a distinction in regards to our classification. We're all classified as independent contractors. We all want to remain independent contractors. We don't want to be classified as employees because it puts a hell of a lot more onus and limitations on us as drivers. Nevertheless, the whole reason this fight is taking place is because they're doing that shit anyway and still referring to you as an independent contractor. In other words, they're calling you an independent contractor, but treating you like an employee when it benefits them, but treating you like a contractor when it benefits them as well. So Proposition 22 would give you things like a minimum wage. I think the pay would be 120% above what the standard minimum wage is. You would be entitled to vacation time, I believe maybe some health benefits, perhaps contributing to Social Security and things like that. Very similar to an employee. Now, as I stated before, a hell of a lot of us do not want our flexibility to be fucked with. We like being able to stop and start whenever the hell we want, have lunch whenever we want, not have management staring down our throats all the time and things like that. Nevertheless, no matter how much flexibility you want, there's only so much flexibility you can have if they're paying you 70 cents a mile and you're driving all damn day to earn a living. If you're driving 60 to 80 hours a week, your ass ain't very flexible. You can go on any job and work 80 hours a week and make a good wage. You pretty much are sleeping and working. That's it. That's not flexibility. But yet plenty of drivers that work 60 to 80 hours a week or even more often refer to their job as flexible. It's not. Now, I'm a part-time driver, so I make that clear in my videos. But nevertheless, I do believe we all want to remain independent contractors. However, I'm in favor of Prop 22 classifying us as employees for the simple fact Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, these gig companies certainly do not want to refer to us as employees. So to prevent from having to deal with labor laws, minimum wage, unemployment insurance, and all of that shit, if we could win Prop 22, we could actually get a hell of a lot of gains so that they would treat us like a real live independent contractor, as opposed to this pseudo bullshit we have now. What the hell do I mean when I state that we are being treated like employees, although they refer to us as independent contractors? I want to give you a whole list of spiel that I have. First of all, wrongful deactivations. If I'm an independent contractor running my own damn business, how the hell are you telling me I can't do that anymore? You can fire me if you're my employer, but you can't stop me from doing the business if you're not over me. So the fact that drivers are getting wrongfully deactivated, oftentimes for no damn reason at all, or in some cases even worse, passengers making up bullshit where the drivers have no ability to appeal or even fight against why they're being deactivated. That's the number one reason. If I shovel snow for a living, cut hair for a living or something like that, I'm an independent contractor, I'm doing plumbing or whatever, nobody can fire me. The customer can state they don't want my services anymore. That's one damn customer. But you can't stop me from being a plumber or a hairdresser. What Uber, Lyft, and some of these companies are doing is literally taking you completely off of that gig working platform without any sort of recourse, sometimes without any explanation as to why they've done that. That's not independent contractor material. So that's number one. Second one I have a big issue with, but maybe some of you folks do not, forcing us to take in service animals and emotional support pets, even if you are allergic to the damn animal. Once again, as an independent contractor, I often use plumber, lawn care, whether you're doing hospitality in somebody's house. If I'm going to your home and I'm allergic to dogs and you let me know, listen, I need you to come over and work on some of my pipes, or I need you to cut my grass, but I got a bunch of German Shepherds running around the lawn. Sorry, ma'am, I cannot take that because I have an allergy to pets. That's the end of it. Nobody stops me from continuing as a lawn care provider or a hospitality provider in somebody's home. That's just one customer I don't deal with. Whereas in ride sharing, they can take you completely off the app because you were not strong enough to fight through a damn allergy and have a big ass dog running around your car. So that's yet another issue of the difference between an employer and an independent contractor. Taking you off for not dealing with pets is treating you like an employee. Another one, punishments for cancellations and declining trips. Once again, if you are an independent contractor, you should be able to pick and choose how you make your money, who you want to deal with. Whereas Uber and Lyft have all sorts of built-in punishments that disincentivizes you from making your own choice for what is profitable. You start getting too many declines, all of a sudden they see you less trips. Or all of a sudden your ratings go down. You got less access to perks and diamond and platinum status and all of that bullshit. All of those are punishments because you're making decisions that you might feel promote earning more money, that are more profitable. In some cases, safety is a concern. Hell of a lot of neighborhoods that it is just not a good idea to engage in ride sharing in. I'm doing video after video of now what's starting to happen is passengers being murdered while in the backseat of Uber and Lyft vehicles. Food delivery people getting robbed, raped, carjacked. All of this shit is happening. If you watch this channel, you're seeing video after video of that. Why can't an independent contractor on his own accord decide what neighborhoods are not safe for him to go into without fear of being punished or taken off the app by Uber or Lyft? That's not an independent contractor. If you're a bus driver working for the city and you refuse to go into a neighborhood, they can fire you. That's what you do to an employee, not some form of an independent contractor. So once again, the classification is off. Another one, transparency. As an independent contractor, if you are a subcontractor, which you are in this case to DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, Grubhub, all of these companies, Lyft, what you basically are is a subcontractor to those companies. Uber or Lyft gets the ride from the passenger and you subcontract with Uber or Lyft so that you will take that passenger where they need to be. Same thing if you're dealing with food deliveries. You're a subcontractor to that company. So you guys are in a partnership. You're in a partnership with the gig companies to deliver that customer the good or service that they are paying for. But you're in a subcontractor with a partner that ain't telling you all the shit you're going to experience, such as, okay, I'm going to take this trip. I'm going to partner with you. You book the trip and I'll take the passenger. But you don't have to tell me how much you charge the passenger at all. I just have to trust that you're giving me a decent percentage of it. That's, once again, an employee-employer relationship, not what an independent contractor would do. As an employee, you get paid an hourly salary. You don't know what the hell your employer is earning from contracts and things that they're involved in. That's how employees work. I'm going to get $15 an hour. It doesn't matter how much the company profits. I don't need to know about that. I just need to know my $15 an hour paycheck comes to me every 2 weeks. That's what an employee-employer relationship is like. As an independent contractor, you're a subcontractor with folks that are using you to do you are being used to do the deed. You got to use your car. You got to go out and put your time in. You're the one doing all the physical labor, whether it's walking to people's houses to deliver food, whether it's driving places in the middle of the night. You're doing all the physical labor. Yet the ride-sharing companies do not even give you the benefit of knowing what the hell is going on pricing. A lot of drivers don't even know what the hell they're earning per mile, or if they're even being actively paid that amount. Uber just earlier this year, out of no damn where at all, sent out messages to drivers stating, you know what, we overpaid you, and we decided to take that money back from you. Because the drivers don't know what the hell is going on, there's no way to know if they overpaid you or not. You don't even know how much you earn outside of what they tell you. So if they tell you your last trip paid $8, and then 3 days later they tell you that $8 should have been $7, you have no way to verify if you should have got paid 8 or 7 at all. You're taking their word on it. So once again, that is not how an independent contract should work. So out of transparency, we have to go to the last one, which this one pisses off yours truly. And maybe if you are worth your salt in regards to being savvy, you could feel the same way I do. Entering deals without the consent of the workers, of the drivers, of the food delivery folks. What do I mean by entering deals? Number one, shared rides, Uber pool. I don't think I've ever spoke to a rideshare driver at all, not even one in the comments I've seen, that favor or like Uber pool. Putting multiple strangers in the backseat behind you, folks who are looking for the cheapest of cheap rides, unlikely to tip, and because you got two different personalities in your vehicle, it increases the likelihood for disagreements, aggressiveness, and or violence. I don't think I've ever talked to a rideshare driver at all that if they were given an option would be willing to participate in shared rides or Uber pool. Fortunately, Lyft got rid of that shit, but Uber is promoting it. That is a deal they entered in without our consent, and we just have to follow through. How about Uber Teen? You want brats in your shit? How many folks that drive for a living, talking about my rideshare, how many of you like Uber Teen? If you could opt out of all teenagers riding in your vehicle without an adult in your vehicle, how many of you would do it? I would assume probably well over 90% of drivers, if they could opt out of taking teens in their vehicle without a parent or guardian, they would do it. Once again, Uber created this shit, and they just threw it up on us, and we're just expected to do it. That is what an employer does to employees. You know, now all of a sudden we're going to start dealing with a different client, and you have to service that client. That's what an employer does to their employees. As an independent contractor, you can't tell a local plumber, well, now we're going to start doing trips on Main Street, and you got to take those. It's up to the independent contractor to decide if he wants to go on Main Street at all. So all of these are deals they enter into without our consent. And last but not least, one that I've done videos on because I'm really disgruntled, and I believe a lot of you are too, that is using our vehicles as medical transports and pseudo ambulances, where now they've entered into deals with medical facilities, rehab centers, and various clinics around the country. And they're using us to transport these people to their appointments or from their appointments home without our consent. Once again, you're talking medical patients where the person could be strung out on drugs, they could get in your car soiled, bodily fluids could be left behind, some of them are not there mentally, could be causing all kinds of a ruckus while you're driving. You have no ability to opt out of this. As an independent contractor, you should easily be able to say, hell no, I don't want to deal with these type of people. because they really should be in a medical transport vehicle, such as an ambulance or some type of transport van. They should not be jumping in the back of somebody's Prius. You want to put somebody with elephant foot weighing 400 pounds in the back of your Prius? Barely can fit. You got to get out and help them put their calves in your car? That type of shit happens in the medical community. Many of my rideshare drivers, my veteran drivers, if you've had any of these patients, feel free to state it in the comments where you picked up someone from a medical transport company and you had to go above and beyond, meaning get out of the vehicle and do all kinds of extra shit that a driver shouldn't have to do. We've stated it before. As a driver, your only job is to get someone from point A to point B expeditiously in a clean vehicle. You shouldn't have to get out and fold up wheelchairs and walkers. If you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to help out the elderly or help out someone that's disabled, there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's quite noble, but it should not be forced upon you. You got drivers that have carpal tunnel, weak limbs. Some of the drivers are disabled. So they should have the right to opt out of having to do physical labor that they may or may not even be capable of successfully doing themselves. As an independent contractor, you would have the right to do all of this stuff. But because Uber, Lyft, and some of these other gig companies are treating us like employees, you don't have that right. The only time they're treating you like an independent contractor is when it comes to paying your ass, giving you the benefits and perks that the U.S. labor laws would entitle you to. Now you're an independent contractor. Sit down and shut the hell up. But the moment you start speaking up about things you would rather not do, you suddenly become an employee. So hopefully California, we won. We ended up losing on appeal, and now it's going to the Supreme Court. Hopefully we can win again. Uber, Lyft, and some of these gig companies spent $200 million fighting to have this blocked for drivers, telling passengers, patients, and just the public in general, if you give the drivers what they're asking for, trips are going to rise sky high in price, or they may not be available in your area. And that's what's leading the citizens of California and Minnesota, by the way. That's what led them to vote against this stuff, is that Uber and Lyft, because they have deep pockets, commercials on television, ads in newspapers and magazines, billboards, they're everywhere, telling the voting public, do not give these people what they want because it's going to hurt you. And that's what caused Proposition 22 in California to fail. And it's part of what led the governor in Minnesota to also veto the bill that was going to help us out. Like I said, they got a hell of a lot of money. They're robbing you every damn trip, and they're using that money against you to ensure that you continue getting paid like shit. So I don't know at the end of the day if we'll prevail here. And I'm going to come at you from a political standpoint before I end the video. Simply put, we have a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, a 6-3 conservative majority. And conservatives tend to be against raising wages. Certainly when it comes to forcing an employer to raise wages, conservatives are not big on that. That's why the minimum wage and things like that are often kept stagnant in conservative areas. They're not a fan of that. They are more of a fan of small business, and they believe if small business is treated right, they will essentially reward the employees or folks that work with them. So I don't have a lot of faith in this with a conservative Supreme Court, because they do tend to favor small business more than they do the actual working man. But we can only hope. We can only hope. What do you think in the comments? Do you think we'll win this one? It is California. It is a liberal state. I believe this is the federal, I believe this is, it might be the California Supreme Court, which could be different, but let me know in the comments. I'm going to plead ignorant on that. Are we talking the California Supreme Court, or are we talking the federal Supreme Court? It might be California. If so, that could be a good thing. But let me know, what do you folks think? Do you think Prop 22, classified as an employee-employer relationship, is something you'd favor? Or do you like the status quo, the shit we're dealing with now, where you're an independent contractor, but they can ram it up your ass anytime you want? Let your boy know in the comments. As always, subscribe to the damn channel, and I'll see you in the next video.